the Room for Square songs, as an example, um, especially the fact that we were playing as a two-piece, so there's a lot of ground to cover there. My approach for playing bass, a lot of it has been in terms of like wanting to take instruments that aren't there, or like what would be an arrangement if we had a three-piece horn section, if we had some strings, if we had a harmonica play, anything like that at all. Just whatever, the stuff that you don't hear while you're playing with the band, the stuff that nobody's playing but you hear in your head. Like I try to incorporate that as a part of the arrangement. And so yeah, like when John and I would be doing, we're playing as a two-piece, there would be stuff where I would be hearing a horn or a string line in a certain way, and I would try and make the bass line complement that melodic element. I mean, it's a lot of compromise to do that and continue the feel, but that's kind of part of the game. Writing an arrangement that incorporates a lot of the ways different instruments would approach, but on the bass. I'm a believer in not explaining works. Like, you put a work out there, and I mean, there's exceptions and everything, but just as a broad stroke, like, I like to have something just stand on its own. And explanations of works tend to water down its potency. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. No, that's great. I mean, I wish more people would take approaches like that.
But that's why there's not a lot written in the liner notes, other than credits. But that was really just a hodgepodge of recordings that I just felt like I had to make. And that was starting around 1999. And there were 3 studios in Atlanta. All 3 studio owners who were friends of mine volunteered their studios to me at times when they weren't booked, so that I could start just making recordings, because I just had to do something that just sounded different, just anything, And so I really didn't know what I was trying to do when I started. I figured having a dance sort of a theme was a good, like the most broad stroke I could have to sort of attach something to. And man, it's really just stream of consciousness, honestly. Chad Franskowiak he started working on some of the recordings with me as the engineer, and kind of seemed like he started digging the project too, so we kind of started working on it as a team, like where he was engineering every time I was working on it. Okay. And it was really just stream of consciousness, go as we go. No agenda, just kind of hoping like, well, maybe we'll know when this recording is finished. And then out of those recordings, I just took like 8 of them that seemed to pair up together well, had them mixed, and, He'd started asking me to sub on shows, maybe, I don't know, 2005 or 2006. And I enjoyed it. I liked playing with him. He definitely had a reputation for hiring good players. And so I always felt like he could hire me to sub on a gig. And it didn't matter. I didn't need to ask who was going to be on the gig, because everybody would be good, which is not taken for granted.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah, we had a period of time where he had asked me and a drummer named Paul Maybury to start playing with him on a regular basis, right about the beginning of 2009, and which we did. We just started playing shows. We probably played like 60 or 80 shows that year, and in the course of doing that, Dave was writing new songs. We recorded his record, and that was a blast.
Sounds like
the group of people on that were like, yeah, it's as much fun as it sounds like it was, because it's just a big love fest, I mean, there's people that had wanted to play with each other for a while, and that was kind of our first opportunity. See, this is something that I'm so thankful to Barnes for, is that he loves rhythm section stuff. So like, he loves bass, and he's had some really good bass players play with him before. So it's, nice that I would be included in that. I appreciate it. But the way that he was letting the arrangements on the songs sort of come to fruition, a lot of it is pretty bass heavy, bass and drum. Yeah. But he definitely was encouraging me to do things that, like play with a pick, where like I started playing with a pick on Little Eyes and then on something else, and because he was telling me how much he loved it over and over again, like the thing that playing with a pick, I've always played with a pick some, but choosing the moments and yeah, his excitement for bass and then encouraging me to do stuff that I wouldn't typically do is part of what made that record really fun. Yeah, if you're a bass player and you get a Dave Barnes gig, it's you're in the hot seat. My friend Zach Morgan and I just finished a record called The Candy Machine, which is it's a kid's record, but I really made it with the hopes that it would be a record that families can listen to. For people who are John Mayer fans, who I met when they were just starting college and now are married and like have maybe their second baby, or I want to be able to make records that the parents will listen to with the kids, so that everybody in the house has this in common. There's records that they're sharing, which most of the time are going to be regular records, like just adult records or whatever. But I love the idea of having the records that are more focused for the kids, that the parents can really dig, want to hear. At least that's what I'm hoping for, more of a family experience. This jazz bass I've had for 16 or 17 years, and I bought it from a friend of mine in Athens, Georgia, named Michael Guthrie. And it took a couple of years for me to talk Michael into selling it to me, but he did, which I really appreciate. And I hope he is still happy that he sold it to me. But yeah, I loved the bass when I played it, and it just, ever since I've had it, I love the fact that it came from one of my good friends, who's a really great player. So I've always sort of, when I bought this bass off of him, even though I paid for it, I sort of felt this responsibility to make good on my end, make him feel good about the fact that he had let go of it. So hopefully he has. But I find a lot of inspiration in this instrument, even other than the way that it plays or the way that it sounds.